So the year is 2004, and whilst both have big dreams of space travel, neither one of them have managed a successful rocket launch yet. Despite the innovations both billionaires have managed over the years, this seems to be the greatest hurdle, and neither of them are getting anywhere. So, with all things considered, it makes sense for the two of them to meet and work together on this titan of a problem they're both facing. It was going to be an important meeting, one where they pooled their knowledge and unraveled this great physics puzzle together. However, that's not the direction it ended up taking. As Trung Phan, writer for the business newsletter The Hustle and the individual who shared the famous picture of the two together noted, the conversation they had perfectly captures the different approaches they've taken to space exploration. In other words, the two couldn't agree on nearly any approach to space travel at all. And things soon became tense at the dinner table. When Musk spoke to Yahoo News, he claims he actually did his best to give good advice, which he largely ignored. And according to Christian Davenport in his book, The Space Barons, Musk was quoted as saying Bezos was barking up the wrong tree. Technically, and had already tried many of the ideas that Bezos was suggesting, calling them dumb. Bezos hasn't publicly discussed the meal, so we can only presume that the feeling was mutual, as since then, their rivalry has publicly grown. The most public of these fights have been over the NASA launching pads. In essence, Bezos has been suing Musk by way of NASA over SpaceX signing a $2.9 billion contract for exclusive rights to use NASA's launching pads. Bezos called SpaceX's Starship a immensely complex and high-risk way to send NASA astronauts to space. But his, as well as his company's protests, were dismissed by the Government Accountability Office. In addition to that, Bezos also complained about SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet, claiming it fails every test of the Federal Communications Commission. Of course, this apparently has nothing to do with Amazon's own satellite internet, Project Cooper, which is still in the works. As you can imagine, Musk was none too happy about all these protests, with Musk claiming that Amazon has lodged objections to SpaceX on average about every 16 days this year. Elon followed that up with a little jab on Twitter, stating that filing legal actions against SpaceX is actually his full-time job. The SpaceX CEO has even gone so far as to call Bezos a copycat with his business ventures. The peanut gallery of Twitter has been endlessly entertained by the two of them butting heads, as both legally and informally on different forms of media. It doesn't seem to be coming to an end anytime soon. Just last year in CodeCon 2021 in Beverly Hills, California, Musk stated, "I think he should put more of his energy into getting to orbit rather than lawsuits. And you can't sue your way to the moon, no matter how good your lawyers are." In response to this latest snide remark by Musk, Bezos replied publicly through a spokesperson at Amazon sharing their views with the consumer news and business channel CNBC. In this official statement, the Amazon representative claimed that SpaceX has a long track record of suing the U.S. government on procurement matters and protesting various government decisions. It is difficult to reconcile that historical record with their recent position on other filing similar actions. To the world's amusement, Bezos' rival took less than an hour after CNBC's publication of the statement to fire back on Twitter saying, SpaceX is sued to be allowed to compete. BO, Blue Origin, is suing to stop competition. The space race is by far the biggest avenue through which the CEOs compete, but it isn't the only one. The two have been fighting over the title of richest person in the world as well, with the title being mostly Bezos's until Musk managed to take it for a short while. With all this vitriolic insult flinging back and forth on social media, the constant protest against each other to official government bodies, and the statements against each other to the press, do Musk and Bezos actually hate each other? Well, it's hard to know without hearing it directly from either of them, but it's easier to imagine that their insults towards each other come more from a place of frustrated disagreements than pure hate. Because like we mentioned at the beginning of this video, the two have also been publicly supportive of each other as well. For example, in 2020, Bezos tweeted in response to one of SpaceX's failed rocket launches that anybody who knows how hard this stuff is impressed by today's Starship test. Big congrats to the whole @SpaceX team. Musk has also gone on record as saying that he thinks it's cool that his fellow billionaire is spending money on the advancement of space, seeing as that he firmly believes that humanity should be a spacefaring species. But with that, Elon and Jeff still continue their public rivalry. For example, when Elon's net worth reached $300 billion, he replied to one of Jeff Bezos' tweets and wrote an emoji of a second-place ribbon, and reminded who was the richest man in the world and who was the second. So whether the pair actually have hatred for each other is truthfully unclear until one of them says it. But what we do know is that the rivalry between them in 2022 is still strong, and until they learn to put their differences aside and work on transcending Earth's gravity together, it likely won't be stopping anytime soon.